For 3 weeks, I've been using the iPhone 7 as my primary device. As an Android user, I'm not convinced. iOS has clear advantages, but it still does not make using it fun. Here's where I will tell you why. After my introduction to the iPhone SE, I took some time to also test the iPhone 7. With this project, I am working from the perspective of a smartphone user with Android experience and will behave as if I am switching over. One thing I would like to say in advance, if I really was switching, I would quickly want to switch back to the Nexus. What I like about the iPhone: the backup feature is still unmatched. After unpacking the iPhone 7 and inserting the SIM card, I turned on the smartphone. The setup wizard asked me if I wanted to restore all data and apps. This is how I restored the SMS, apps, background, contacts, conversation history, and all settings, just as I had set them up 4 months earlier on the iPhone SE. If I were to upgrade from my Nexus 6P to, say, a Google Pixel, this would not be possible. The wizard reinstalled the apps I had on the old phone. But I still needed to set up each app completely from scratch: username, password, settings. So with 50 apps, it takes so long that you have to spread the work out over several days. Usually, I start completely from zero and install the apps as needed. I often don't bother to transfer SMS or WhatsApp messages to new devices as it is really not worth the effort. The camera is classy. 2 strong arguments for purchasing an iPhone have always been its classy design and excellent quality of the camera. It reliably takes good pictures, works with minimal delay, and can also be started from the lock screen without the pin. The Photos app, however, is not quite as attractive as its Android counterpart. I'm just now trying to figure out how to rename an album, or how to edit the permissions. It seems to me that not everything is well integrated. And then we come to the next point. What I like less. The apps are not that much better. App developers now have a clear understanding that Android is important. Many apps are still better on the iPhone than on Android devices, but some recent examples show that something is finally being done about this. Google apps are still second-class apps. The iPhone integrates your Twitter and Facebook accounts directly into the main settings. This is not the case with a Google account. You must register the apps of the big competitors individually, so the whole integration of their services doesn't quite work. Here, a gentle transition for someone who previously used an Android device to iPhone is almost impossible. The new Home button makes the iPhone operation even more comical. With the iPhone 7, Apple's Home button no longer functions mechanically. Instead, it relies on a Touch ID sensor. The setup wizard lets you choose how strong it should be. Everyone I showed this to found it weird. Headphones only with adapter whip. The included adapter whip, which is to be plugged between the headsets and the Lightning connection for the iPhone, is much too thin. I predict that it will break after 6 months of continuous use. As I am testing Bluetooth headsets galore, it was not much use to me. But I would not like to have to rely on the adapter, especially since the replacement costs €10 and you cannot charge the iPhone while you're using it. Conclusion of the first impression: I'm still not warming up to the Apple ecosystem. The operation, from my point of view, is more complicated than with an Android device. The battery life is too weak. The integration of Google's services is too shabby and makes for a slow, painful transition from system to system. The iPhone's biggest strength is, of course, when you go completely over to the iCloud. But I'm not ready for that, especially since I'm then stuck in that ecosystem. Android devices may not work perfectly, but there are more options for modification, a larger selection of apps, microSD cards, cheap accessories, and you can copy MP3s from the computer to your smartphone and listen to them later with headphones connected directly into the jack.